All right. Hello, Monarchs. Welcome to the first video for lesson 5.2. Today we are doing quick graphs using intercepts. Okay, so intercept is our main vocabulary word here. So we're going to be graphing using what we call intercepts. All right. And I want you guys to think about the word intercept. Okay, what did you guys think intercept means? You probably have heard it in football. You probably have heard it in other ways. But if we really think about intercept and where you've heard it before, typically it has to do with two things crossing, right? In football, the defender intercepts the ball when he crosses the route of the guy on offense and intercepts the ball, right? He takes the ball from him, right? Okay, so knowing that, we can kind of guess what an x-intercept is, right? So your x-intercept is going to be where the line crosses the x-axis. So the x-intercept is the point where the I messed up here. 1 second, guys. All right, I fixed my mistake there. So the x-intercept is the point where the line crosses the x-axis. Okay, the point where the line intercepts or crosses the x-axis, and we find the y-intercept. So we find it by plugging 0 in for y in our equation. Okay. So the x-intercept is the point where the line crosses the x-axis, and we find it by plugging in 0 for y into our equation. Okay. So like I said, we have x-intercept. And how do we find it? Finding an x-intercept, you plug in 0 for y. Okay. The y-intercept, if you guys could guess, the y-intercept is going to be where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, you probably could have guessed that. And we'll make a bullet point down here. We find it by plugging 0 in for x. Okay, and that may seem just like a lot of words right now, but you guys will see what I mean when we start doing our examples starting right here. Okay, as always, I like to differentiate my x's and my y's with my yellow and my orange. Okay, all right, so now we're going to talk about finding the intercepts of a line. So this is our equation of the line it gives us. It says negative x plus 5y equals 10, and it wants us to find the x and the y-intercept. Okay, whenever we're trying to find intercepts, the first thing we do is we set up our two ordered pairs. We set up what's called our cross eyes. And we set up our cross eyes. They're called cross eyes because if you look, we have two zeros right next to each other. So it's like two eyes that are looking towards each other, right? Those are our cross eyes. We set up two ordered pairs with two zeros, all right? So right now we're trying to find what our x coordinate is when our y coordinate is 0. That's the x-intercept, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use this equation up here, okay? We're going to use this equation up here. I'm going to draw it over here, all right? It is negative x plus 5y equals 10. So I'm going to do negative x and then plus, and like I said before, when we are finding an x-intercept, we plug in a 0 for y. Okay, so we have our y is 0 down here. That's also tells us that we need to plug in a 0 for y. So we're going to do plus, and then we're going to do 5. And then instead of y, that is where I'm going to plug in 0. Okay, instead of y, I'm plugging in a 0 for y. So I have negative x plus 5 times 0. I'm going to set it equal to 10. Do you guys see where I got this 0? This 0 is the same as this 0, right? It came from down here. I know that my y is 0, so I plug in 0 for my y. Okay. So 5 times 0 cancels out. That's 0, right? So I'm just left with negative x equals 10. I'm not done because there's still a little negative 1 outside of my x. That's why it's a negative. So I need to get rid of that negative 1. And I know that when a -1 is multiplying my x, I get rid of it by dividing by -1. So I'm going to divide by -1, divide by -1, and I get x equals -10. Okay. So my x-intercept would then be -10, comma 0. Okay. -10, comma 0 is my x-intercept. Stay tuned. In the next video, we go over how to find the y-intercept for this. Okay.